Thank you. We'll call the meeting to order at 10:02. Approval of the agenda that the Joint Waste Diversion Site Committee approve the agenda as circulated or as amended. Is there a mover? Member Vic. And member Mackey seconds. Does anyone have any additions to the agenda? Seeing none? Yes, Mayor Mackey?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm just wondering if, I know it's in the budget, but if we could just resurrect the shredder report that we had on our previous meeting for some further discussion. Our council has looked, we're starting to look at their budget, and that's a big ticket item. And I'd just like some clarification from some of the information in the previous report around justification. We have to share back to our council.
Is that okay with member Yvette? Yes. And so the shredder will be added to the agenda. All in favor? And that is carried. The minutes. That the Joint Waste Diversion Site Committee approved the minutes of the August 5th, 2025 as circulated or as amended. Can I have a mover and a seconder for that? Moved by member Dubeck, seconded by Mayor Mackey. Danielle, did you have a problem?
Thank you. If we continue to move this motion, we'll just need to circle back to do the declaration of pecuniary interest.
Oh, thank you. Does anyone have any discussion on the minutes? Mayor Paul McQueen?
Thank you, Madam Chair, and no issue with the minutes other than I haven't been filling in for anybody on this meeting, committee for quite a long time, but I don't know, it says verbal updates. I don't know how much detail is given, but if there's a lot more than just sometimes there's a lot of information that may be more. Sometimes you have a report, and you speak to a report about a lot of information, but if it's just a verbal update, there's a lot of information. Just maybe get captured in minutes. I don't know how to
Would you suggest that the minutes be more detailed?
I'm only raising it because I don't know how much detail happens. Let's go. I guess that's my question. Right?
Sometimes quite a lot.
Right, and that's what I'm saying is if it gets to a lot of information, committee seeing it, but not our respective councils.
Yes, that's a good point.
Right.
So would you suggest that it maybe should be a report coming back if it's a detailed update?
Well, just to follow up, my question is, I don't know how much detail is given.
Yes.
How much is in those in that verbal update, but there's a lot of items. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 items that were verbally discussed.
Right. Sean, did you have some information on that?
Just through you, Chair, like typically the verbal update is just from each municipality, kind of updating the other municipalities on high level stuff that they're working on. If there is any detailed information that needs to come, then it will come through the other items and Apple report. So the verbal is usually just kind of an update, a quick back and forth on where each one's at and what we're doing. But the detail part, if there is stuff comes through that items.
Exactly. That's pushing.
There was a lot of items there, and like me, I would ask a few questions to some of those items, but obviously when those minutes come back to our respective councils, then I guess we can ask for updates on that. Thank you.
Yes, Karen.
Thank you, Chair, for you. It's also recorded as well, so if any of the council members want to listen to the recording, they have an opportunity as well.
That's a good point. Thank you. All in favor of passing the minutes? That was carried. If there's any pecuniary interest, anyone have a pecuniary interest? Seeing none. We'll move on to the Chatsworth updates. We start with you, Rachel.
Sure. The only update I would say from my end, was the fact that we do have that agreement, the joint agreement on the agenda. And, hopefully that'll clarify the current committee and the future board's, role. And, it was nice to work with staff and really bring that forward. So other than that, nothing else from my end.
Very good. Yes, I think we're glad to see the agreement. That's good. The staff worked hard on that. Cash, did you have anything at this time?
Nope, nothing at this time.
And I think our public works manager was to come, but he hasn't made. Yeah, he has another initiative going on at one of the shops for a training program. So he's just running a little behind schedule. Updates from Highlands. Karen, do you want to go first, or would we just go to Sean? Sean, thank you.
Through you, Chair, so from your Highland side of things, we have been working on trying to get a demo unit, of the shredder, with a company from Cambridge up to the Markdale site. So when we can finalize that, we will definitely let, Chatsworth staff and know. What we'd like to do is try and set up, the kind of an area with an own volume of, waste, run it through the demo, and then be able to compare it to what comes out and that. So when we get that set up, it'll probably be a quick turnaround, and then they get it there, get it operational, but we'll try to make sure we let the committee and staff. So that will be the plan, is try to do that this fall before the weather kind of gets nasty. Just if anybody's been to the site, the tire program seems to be very challenging right now. For the past few months, we've been trying to set up collection before the winter, but we haven't been getting much response. We've reached out to the program administrator, trying to get all three of our sites, not just Markdale one, collected, but it's a bit of a struggle right at the moment. Then for item 7.3, just a quick update, GEI has it's been included, sorry, in the agenda today. And we are able to include that volume in the annual report that was requested last meeting. So that shouldn't be a problem. They'll take our chart and our split, and then they'll convert that to the volume to be included. Yeah.
Good. Do we need a resolution to accept the verbal report?
I would suggest yes.
Can I have a mover? Oh, sorry.
I have a question.
Question?
If I may.
Yes, sure.
Director Moyer. Director Moyer, regarding the demo, would the invitation be extended to our respective councils or to view the demo, given the fact that this is a very a big investment? And as we're moving into budget season and discussions around it, wondering if that would be allowed.
Through you, Chair, I think we have to be very cautious in the sense that once there's more than a certain number of council members all in one spot looking at municipal business, whether that constitutes a meeting or not. I don't know if I make that call. I think right now we would invite the committee, and then we can even do a recording maybe, or have the results from our demo that we can include in a presentation or something to council at a later time. So we're cautious in having everybody there. Turns it into a different situation.
Yes.
So I was just wondering if we could do, so I don't know how long the demo would be, but if we could do, like, say, if we could do a few tours back to back. For anybody who would be interested, again, just given the fact that this is a big investment. And if we are going to be seriously looking at it, I think the people who actually understand how may have better opportunity to make an informed decision. So I'll leave it at that, but I'm just wondering if that would be possible, and I'll just give that.
Yes, actually, thank you. I think it is actually a really good idea, and Karen has her hand up. Do you have some way we could actually do that and invite both our councils?
Thank you, Chair. It becomes a bit of a challenge because setting up the demo, obviously they have to have a specific amount of debris to put in. So to set that up throughout the day, I don't know if we would be able to have the piece of equipment for a specific long period of time. I would suggest what Director Moya said about taking a video of its operation and having it narrated as to what's happening and how much it is being processed and all of that, and having the statistics along with the video. So we have the capability to do some pretty good audio, video with our communications person, and we can certainly invite her out there, and she can record the whole demonstration, and then we can send that out to the respective councils. I think just having, you know, 2 councillors and then doing the demonstration and then having 2 more councillors, and I suspect that they're doing this pro bono, and we're not paying for it, so we have to respect their time and use of their equipment as well. But we'll do everything we can to make sure that we have a good sample of what it's capable of, and like I said, have those statistics and data along with the video, so that council gets a good understanding, councils get a good understanding of what capabilities are.
Yes, thank you. We can, yes.
I was wondering to insist that we have both councils there, just like a clerk. So it is, you're gonna like a clerk. So,
Because if that's a big capital purchase, I think all council wants to be there.
if we want to watch on video, I understand, we could probably watch on YouTube, but I strongly urge that all council comes, because this is a huge capital cost.
Yes.
We do road tours, we make for, so.
Sure. Thank you. We can invite the clerk, but it's not just inviting the clerk. We have to set up a meeting, we have to have an agenda, we have to advertise it. If that's what the board wants to do, then, you know, we're at your discretion.
Well, it's a very special meeting too, that can be short as well.
So, yes, and I agree, and we can have further discussion when it comes up on the agenda about the shredder as well, and. Try to answer their questions when we go back, but it is difficult, and it's gonna be more than $1 million, so I think it's worthwhile to go the extra step and try to have everyone there. I know it'll be hard to coordinate everyone, would be one of the bigger problems, but if they can't find us, yes, Mayor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just through you, question to Director Moyer. I appreciate getting the volumes. I think that's important information for both municipalities to have. I guess my question, Sean, is, are the volumes, are they actually survey volumes? Like, how will these volumes are coming from the end of the year, right? So are they actually surveying the landfills and determine the accuracy of the volumes?
You, Chair, which volumes are we talking, like in the annual report?
Yeah, and then the capacity share for each municipality, like, is that based on the actual survey volumes of the landfill? Like,
So there's
these
two
are
different
weighted volumes, right? So I'm just
Right,
trying
so
to.
what we bring in is we measure by weight,
Yeah.
and then annually we do a survey of the whole hill and what the difference is from one year to the next. And then the split on the volume is based on weight. So the split, because we don't measure the volume going in, other than annually, but we do have the weight from each municipality that goes into that volume for the whole year. So that's how it gets split up.
So I guess I'm trying to understand, you know, the difference between the weight and the volume, right? When we're gonna be talking about, you know, a shredder, you know, that will impact the volume. Won't impact the weight, right? But it impacts the volume, and that's what, you know, we're trying to get more volume. Is that correct? Out of our landfill?
Through you, Chair, yes, you are correct. So the volume, So by getting the shredder and being able to decrease the void space and air space, being able to compact it more, that same weight that's going in will take up a much less volume. So you're correct, that the volume is what we're ultimately trying to bring down on it.
Very good. So we are still on verbal updates, so, could I have a mover and a seconder to accept the verbal updates? Mayor McQueen and member Dubeck. And all those in favor of, thank you, of the verbal updates, all in favor, carried. Correspondence was received from Chatsworth, that the Joint Waste and Diversion Site Committee received the August 21st, 2025 Chatsworth correspondence relating to the JWDC 2025-17 for information. A mover and a seconder to put that on the floor. Moved by Mayor McQueen, seconded by Mayor Mackey. All those in favor of accepting the correspondence for information, this discussion can happen under 7.3. Carried. That the Joint Waste and Diversion Site Committee received the August 21st Chatsworth correspondence relating to the JWDC 2025-19. JWDC 25-21, JWDC 2025-22 for information. I have a mover and a seconder to put that on the floor. Moved by Mayor Mackey, seconded by Member Dubeck. Discussion. Oh, I guess, actually, this is being discussed under 7.4. If members are all right to wait, all those in favor? That's carried. 7.3, the capacity summary of the Holland Markdale waste diversion sites. That the Joint Waste and Diversion Site Committee received the Highlands and Chatsworth remaining capacity summary for information. Mover and a seconder. Moved by Mayor McQueen, seconded by Mayor Mackey. I believe we have a document on page 11 of our package showing the various summaries of capacity. Is there any discussion on that report? Mayor McQueen?
I'm not sure where your page 11 is, but,
Sorry, I don't know how else to describe it.
so it's one of one on attachment. But a question I have, and I just was a sort of an observation. So we started our curbside container contract beginning of 2023. So I see our volume is down from the previous year. So 2023, if you're looking at the chart, it says 71%, and then the capacity split and rate was increased, I guess, with Chatsworth. That's probably because there was less volume going in. And then 2024, it seemed to pick up more, 78%. I'm not sure if that's because of more bins that were being picked up or not. I don't know. I don't know if there's any discussion around that, but obviously when we went to a curbside, is that garbage is leaving something
Yes.
into Chatsworth? So you can sort of see where there is a decrease. I thought it would have been more of a decrease, but I don't know if there's a thought there or not.
Through you, Chair. So I think there's been, a lot of moving parts to this over the last couple of years, but you're correct. On Grey Highlands did move our curbside over a drop. In 2024, Chatsworth also moved some of their curbside from going to the site to, so then it kind of bounced back out, which is the change back in 2024. So that's probably part of the reason for the shift.
Thank you. And if you notice under capacity used, it has dropped from 23 from 68, 62 cubic meters down to 25.48. So that's under capacity used on the chart. Do you see the chart? Did you find your page 11?
No, that's on another attachment, so I have to go back to that, but I didn't remember looking at that.
Yes, so the actual capacity that went into the landfill has dropped significantly. It's less than half. Maybe a third of what it went in 2024. I did have a couple of questions about the report chart. So directly under where it says for Highlands heading, it says used capacity. I would think that is actually remaining capacity that is listed there, not capacity used. So if we're looking at 2018, for instance, the remaining capacity is first column after the date. So there's 251,249 cubic meters. And then Great Highlands remaining capacity, not used capacity, is 124,369. And then Chatsworth's remaining capacity is 126,879. So I think the headings just needs change. And then as well, when we jump down to row 2024, the line indicates that the share remaining is 36.7% for Highlands, and Chatsworth's share remaining is 47.4%. I would think those should add to 100% of remaining capacity. And those two numbers add together to be 83%, something like that.
So through you, Chair, so if you go to the top of that chart, it starts when we started tracking it at 50/50, so that's what you're under. And we're just, as you go down through the chart, we're working down through your each 50% from each municipality. That makes sense.
Well, not exactly. So who gets the other 12% that we're more?
That's what's billed, that's what's billed since we started tracking.
Okay.
We started at 100% in, say, 2017. And we've used 12% from 2017 to 2024. And Chatsworth used like 2.46%. Great Highlands is used the remaining.
You wouldn't use the current remaining capacity and say that I could calculate it, so that 43.6% is Great Highlands remaining capacity, and then 56.38 is Chatsworth's remaining capacity of what remains in 2024. Otherwise, you're gonna have to continue to watch the 2017 capacity. Yes.
I may jump in. The purpose of doing it this way is because there's the 20% or the 40% threshold in the agreement of when capacity is bought off the other municipality. So that's why from 50%, Great Highlands has 36.7% remaining of our 50%, and Chatsworth has 47.4% remaining of your 50%. So that is kind of intended to monitor. There's a big line in the agreement, should one of the municipalities utilize 40% of its available capacity, it shall then notify the other municipality. I'm monitoring it that way. So we can modify this table moving forward if the committee wishes.
Okay, I understand that. Thank you. Yes.
Well, I'm not sure they're doing any more, but so that means Chatsworth basically has used 3% and Great Highlands has used 14%, is that correct? Of the capacity?
Of their share of their capacity, yes.
Okay.
Yes, Mayor Mackey?
Thank you, through you, Madam Chair. Member McQueen brought up about the bin program that Great Highlands is utilizing now, and I guess I had a question in regards to the amount of, weight that is being, have you been able to do any analysis between the amount of weight that is going into the bins? We had, Herb was involved with this, but I got circulated. Waste Management refused to pick up a bag of waste that was well over 40 pounds. You know, we're still the bag system, and I'm just wondering now with the bins, where people can cram as much as they want into the bins. Have you had any analysis on the total amount of weight from, pickup is being done compared to the old bag system? So the weight that used to go into the landfill compared to what is now being transferred down country? That's one fear I have with the bins is the amount of landfill space that it will be utilizing. You know, going forward, people can fill it up as much as they want. And that was just based on, you know, one guy's bag of garbage is well over 40 pounds and he wouldn't take it. So perfectly involved and guy wasn't happy with it. Yes, maybe you don't have an answer right now, but it's just, it would be something worth looking into when we're talking about, you know, keeping our landfill space is these bins, which will likely all have to go to, will have some detriment to our landfill, space.
Maybe start to try to do that stuff, maybe it's, so when we were looking at that contract, the recycling bin and the garbage bin were going to be the same size. But when we decided, because we wanted to continue like one free bag a week, we went to a smaller bin for the garbage, which basically holds your regular size garbage bags. So we didn't increase garbage. If we had to stay with the larger bin, you're earning a little more, that they could have put an extra bag in there every 2 weeks. We went to the smaller bin for garbage, the recycling is still bigger. So it's, we still maintain that one bag a week garbage in capacity. If you get what I mean. If we had to stay with the larger bin, it would have been that opportunity to shove a third bag in there. I don't know what was to stop, but I know council made that decision that we didn't want to encourage more garbage. The program, so.
Thank you.
Again, just further to that point, are we being billed as municipalities by Waste Management on the weight or on the volume of what's picked up? And when they deliver it down country, is it the weight or volume?
Through you, Chair, so there's a couple of questions out there, but, so currently we don't compare year to year. Specifically, we do have all the weights and all that information, but that doesn't take into account for growth and other changes that may or may not have happened during that period. But when it comes to waste management, when it's disposing or the disposal of it, I know for Great Highlands in our contract, we pay a certain amount for the collection of the carts, and then the actual weight, the disposal is charged by weight.
So from a Chatsworth perspective, the same as Great Highlands, we are giving kind of a lump sum cost for the collection, and then weight cost percentages built in there as well.
So that being said, if we're being billed on weight, if we go to bins, there's a strong likelihood that the weight will increase. I would suspect.
Yes.
Well, my point on that is because we weren't encouraging any more bags per week, because we went to a smaller bin. If you stayed at a larger bin, you could have weight. The possibility on that.
Yes.
Yeah, and just to add to that, you know, as we move forward, for Great Highlands, the opportunity is also to get a green bin or, you know, some sort of a solution or from composting, you know, at the curb. And so when we do get there, it will also then help to decrease the weight. But Sean, Director Moyer, I'm not sure if you have any evidence in terms of, you know, when we went from, you know, bags to bins, if there was actually a significant change in weight for our municipality.
Yes, Director Moore.
Through you, Chair. So with our municipality, we had the one free bag, but then they could also buy extra, and there was no real limit to the extra weight. So anybody could put up to 2, I think was generally, but I think we've seen in the past instead of the collector not like going and picking up, say, the 3 bags. And then getting a call saying you didn't, they would just collect them, so, I would, without having to done a full analysis on it, but I would, say we probably didn't see a huge change in the weight collected, from the curbside over the period. It kind of follows through with the growth that we had also seen.
Very good. Just further to that, previously it was asked if these capacities were surveyed, like by an acting surveyor. Could you repeat that for me?
Through you, Chair, on an annual basis, yes, we have the engineering firm come in and survey the hill, and then from that survey from year to year, they base the volume.
Yes, very good, thank you. So next year, will this chart be incorporated by the engineers, but from staff staff, is that correct?
Correct.
Yes, okay. All right, very good. Is there any further questions regarding the capacity report? Seeing none, and all in favor? That's carried. The board agreements, the joint, that the joint Waste and Diversion Site Committee received the August 21st Chatsworth Correspondence. I think I did that already, right?
On 7.4.
Thank you.
Thompson.
That the Joint Waste and Diversion Site Committee staff report JWDSC 2503, draft joint waste disposal and diversion site agreement for information, and that the Joint Waste and Diversion Site Committee recommended both councils to approve the draft joint waste disposal and diversion site agreement. And that the joint committee recommend that both councils direct staff to bring forward a bylaw to adopt the draft joint waste disposal and diversion site agreement. And that the joint committee recommend that both councils repeal the term of reference for the joint waste and diversion site committee. Can I have a mover and a seconder for that? Moved by Mayor Mackey, seconded by Member Dubeck. Discussion on the agreement. Yes, Mayor Mackey.
Well, this has been a long time, getting to this point. I just like to thank Karen, Rachel, and all the senior staff were involved in getting us to this point and turning us into a board of management, which we should have been from the very get-go. So thank you, everyone, for your patience in getting us to this point. Assuming it's passed. Yeah, cool.
I guess I have a question with regard to it. So it is clear within the report that we are a board of management, and did we change the actual name of the board within the agreement? To actually say board in the, I think that's where the initial confusion came from, is that the word committee is in the name. So I think it is indicated in the agreement. Well, that's good. Any other questions? Seeing none, all those in favor? That's carried. The draft operating budgets, the Joint Waste and Diversion Site Committee received the draft 2026 operating budget for the Holland Markdale Waste Diversion Site for information. I have a mover and a seconder. Moved by Member Dubeck. And seconded by Mayor Mackey. Discussion. Mayor McQueen?
So my question was, usually, from a draft budget, looking at my last year's budget is year to year. Oh, I see, 2025 is Okay, never mind, I see it now. It's on the last call. Answer my own question.
That's fine.
Look, that's morning, I didn't see it, but there it is.
Member Dubette?
Thank you. So thank you for staff for pulling this together. As we see from year over year, it's pretty flat. It's just, it's a few $1,000s, sort of increase in terms of net cost. Just a question, just for my understanding, when we take a look at the first line, the wages and payroll cost. So for 2026, it's the 234 versus 2025, this is 245. So that's representative of the shift of decreasing the number of hours at the site. Is that correct?
Yes.
Through you, both budgets are reflective of that, change in hours. I think the 2020 budget was actually just, or sorry, 2025 budget was set a little bit too high. So 2026 budget is more reflective of what, they're put down.
Okay.
And you'll see that in the 2025 actuals as well. That we anticipate will be lower than the 2025 budget.
Okay, thank you.
So one thing I do, the actuals, for, I guess we have a full year for 2024, and then there would be the year-to-date for 2025. Would it be possible to have those incorporated into the budget? I think it's an important thing to periodically compare your actuals to your budget. I think that when I look back through my documentation, the last time that we've seen a detail of what was actually spent was 2022, so it's maybe time to take a closer look at what is actually being spent. And if that wouldn't be too much trouble, if that can come back.
And we do send that, for January or February each year to, Chatsworth staff with all the details to review. And I do have the 2024 actual column, just it wasn't included in the report, but I can unhide that and send it to you. I do have a little bit of concern, I guess, with the 2025 year to date, just because it does take a lot of, adjustments and thorough review of the details to ensure, correct allocation of wages, and sometimes we need to move things out that have been coded to Markdale that shouldn't be shared. So it does take a little bit more work that way to present it to the board.
That's fair. I think it would be fine with me if it was just the totals from 2024, something that has already been reviewed. That's good. Mayor Markey?
Chair, just, there's two voters mentioned here, not that it's a big dollar amount on the second one, but I only thought Chatsworth participated in the purchase of one more in 2016. I'm just wondering about the 250 and whether or not if we're part of one or if whether we need to add it to our asset management plan.
Through you, Chair. So the second loader was purchased by Highlands. It's Highlands and is used as a backup loader in times where there is down for repairs or anything. So that then it's just charged back on a 20% basis for the backup sort of situations where as we get called in to help.
Thanks, Sean. So sorry, charge back on a 20% basis of the purchase of what? 20%?
No, just in the budget, that gets included for the share, and then that gets split as part of the split of Chatsworth. So Highlands' loader is helping out.
Yeah.
And you're only paying a very, very small share for that.
Okay, so it's not billed in an hourly rate. Okay, thank you. Just. So we don't need to add to our asset management.
Not unless you want to, but not for it too.
Thank you. Another, just, Madam Chair,
Yes, Mayor Mack.
just, Could someone break down for us, please, under the administrative, I'm just not clear on all the administrative wages and, you know, what we pay a municipality for, I don't know, Greyhound does all the administration. What is, being charged for those administration expenses? Someone could break down that line a little bit for us under wages and administration.
That's how I'm wondering that, yeah. Yes, thank you.
Through you. So it's a portion of the cost of, several positions. Some of that is for finance, staff, processing of payroll, invoices related to Markdale landfill, charges like that. There is also, a portion of our admin wages, for our staff. So for example, when they undergo training, they'll code their wages to our general 60,000 category, not directly to the landfill. So at year end, we allocate a portion of that to this line item. A portion of our municipal services assisted position. So basically any staff that are working directly at the landfill, so indirect overhead costs basically related to the Markdale landfill that are encoded there, but we allocate them there year.
What kind of a percentage would that be?
So we do examine this carefully every year, and it varies by position. So, we usually allocate how much of it is related to environmental services, and then we allocate a percentage of that is related to Markdale landfill specifically. So, for example, the MSD position, 50% of that is allocated to Markdale landfill.
Sorry, what is MSA?
Municipal services assistant, so it's our general administrative office. Providing support to them.
And that's 50%. Does that answer your
Yes,
question?
thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So, with regard to the diversion program, how does that work? I'm looking at ways to lower our budget. So, have we analyzed our diversion programs? Like evaluated whether the, styrofoam that we collect, are we making money? How much does that cost us? That sort of thing, if we evaluate that.
So through you, Chair, so yes, we look as the staff, like things like styrofoam, there's no charge for that, so. That, like, what there is a cost to get rid of it.
Yes.
So like, for that one, there's no cost recovery at this time. Things like mattresses, we've looked at what the costs are for the diversion, the trucking and that. And we ensure that we're at least breaking even on those where there are charges. But like there are other items, it's scrap metal, there's no charge for it to come in, so all that is profit, so. Yeah, as staff, we do look at all the operating costs, try to ensure that we can. Still divert as much as we can, some of my feelings on things like styrofoam and that is. It might not get diverted if there was a charge, and then if there is a charge. Charging by weight is pretty difficult. So, I guess the short answer is yes, we do look at it and try to make sure that we're competitive with all our neighbors as well. On what they're diverting and, that we're bringing in as much revenue as.
Would there be a way to bring back like the cost of how much it is for shipping the styrofoam? For instance? So,
Like through you, Chair, that's operational, I guess, whatever we get direction. To do if that's something.
yeah. Mhm. And then we have recently put on the new program where people can the new U program kind of thing, to drop off your good use items, and they can be picked up. Is that program working?
So through you, the reuse center.
Yes.
So yes, we have a reuse center in Markdale, and it does get used fairly regularly. Not everything obviously leaves through residents, some they'll have to be cleaned out, and it does take quite a bit of staff time to monitor it and ensure that right things are going into it and that, but yes, I would say staff are pretty happy with how it's working.
Yeah, I was just worried that a lot of it was going back into landfill anyway, and the other thing is the amount of staff time that is required to. Do all the diversion programs is a cost, so, just not sure how to evaluate that cost. Whether it's something we should look at for reducing our. Yes, Mayor Mackey.
Well, maybe it's all like we talk in generalities around the diversion, but I'm really not well versed in what we are diverting at our landfills, and, you know, it's a little more information on, you know, what it costs, you know, I don't know what it costs to take a mattress there. So if it costs $25, it would then have a little spreadsheet on, you know, these are the costs to get rid of, you know, the reuse, you know. Speaking of, reusing, you know, the Chatsworth Fire Department has a yard sale every year, but a lot of that stuff is just a way of individuals getting rid of stuff they don't want to pay for at the landfill. So I hope our reuse center, same way that, you know, people take their stuff there, drop it off, because they don't want to pay the disposal costs. So it'd be nice to get a little bit more information on how the overall diversion is working and whether there's an actual benefit and whether the cost should go up to divert. You know, lots of people want to get rid of stuff, but just want to avoid the disposal costs. So they can play games around it.
Yes.
So through you, Chair, so the way we operate our reuse centers is that anything that's going in has to be paid by weight on way in tank. In the assumption that it's probably either end up in the hill, or if it leaves, then that's a bonus, but it does have to be paid this way in.
Very good.
Well, that's good to know. So, and it would be nice, probably, you know, a report to come back just on the diversion program, because that's really good information. Nice to be able to share that with other members of council, because I was under a false assumption. So just to have that information would be beneficial. Thanks.
Would the committee like to see that report come back? Do we need a resolution for that to?
Yeah, so through you, Chair Thompson, there is a motion on the floor right now related to the budget. So I would suggest if the committee wants to request a report, that could be a subsequent motion after we finish the motion that's on the floor.
Is there any further questions on the budget?
Which is just on that, so diversion wise, we divert styrofoam, drywall, mattresses. So we do.
Tech equipment.
Yeah, right.
Metal.
So this is line I was told your house this morning, 2 bills for getting rid of our mattresses. So the cost of Holland, 123 mattresses, it's $1,075. That's including HST, so we get 7/8 of that back. And the cost of for being recycled was 60, which has to go to Montreal. Is that where we truck it to, Montreal?
Okay. For you, yes, truck to Woodbridge, and then they also, their head office is in Montreal.
So the cost of the diversion is $1,694. So for 123 mattresses, that is cost of $2,770.16. Now that's with HST, so we get 7/8 of that back. So for 123 mattresses, that cost was $22.52. So what do we charge per mattress? So you, manager.
Sorry. Greg Moyer.
Chair, it's just $25.
So that's covering our cost, which is good. And there's probably other costs that's not captured from staffing and being there and stuff like that, but I think it's important, it'd be good to have a better idea. Drywall, we charge for drywall. It's a tipping fee, right? And there's a cost. I see that once in a while at the hauling of that. So
Through you, so for drywall, so for just pieces, small pieces of drywall, less than, I think, 4x8 sheet. They can bring it in for free, and if there's any, like a load that's more than, a one sheet, then it gets charged by weight on its way in, and then we divert as much of that.
So stuff for sheeting inside your buggy.
Don't let it get wet. Do we want, is there more questions on the budget?
Other than you want the actions.
So will we bring this budget back? And how would you suggest we do that first? Joe?
Through you, Chair Thompson, the treasurer has suggested that she can make the 2024 actuals available to the committee. And that can be circulated with today's minutes.
Do you would prefer we pass this as is, or?
That's at the discretion of the committee.
Do we feel comfortable adopting this, or would we like to see the 2024 actuals prior to adopting it? Sorry, Karen, yes, please.
Thank you, Chair, to you. So the committee would be, the board would be recommending the budget to council, they're not adopting it. We have, in Greyhounds, we have strong mayor, so it would be to be recommended to the mayor's budget, and then Chatsworth would have a separate recommendation to Chatsworth Council. So I think we have to split that out to address the differences in how we're set up at this point in time. Yeah, we need to adopt it, it is to recommend it to the respective budget processes.
My suggestion would be to support it in principle. To the mayor's, to the respectable budget, municipal budget process. I don't need to get into the specifics, just into that process. But also, maybe then that the 2024 actions will be included.
Yes.
And then that way it doesn't hold up here, it moves forward because it's going to be at that budget processes that will make those decisions anymore.
So the current resolution on the floor is that the joint committee receive the draft 2026 operating budget for the Holland Markdale site for information. And would we amend it? Oh, sorry. Yes.
Through you, Chair. So the current agreement says that the committee will receive and view the operational budget, and then, so this resolution is just here that you receive it for information, so that you've seen it in front of you. And then as we move through the budget process, it goes back to both respective councils. So this is just, you've seen it, this is what it is. If you have anything else, like the 20, we'll put it in minutes. But this is just the very base start of it, to make sure we put amendments in the agreement saying that it's been brought, operational budget's been brought to the committee to see.
Yes. Is the committee fine with that? Board? All those in favor of receiving this information? That's carried. The 2026 meeting schedule that the Joint Waste Diversion Site Committee schedule. Did I miss one?
We just added an additional agenda item regarding the shredder.
Or the diversion program too.
Yeah.
So that, or to request a report regarding the diversion program. Do you have a resolution?
Thank you through you, Chair Thompson. Yeah, I do just want to bring a couple of things to the attention of the committee. And it's similar to what Director Moyer brought just now in his remarks to the committee, that The committee is to review the proposed operating budget for the next fiscal year and make recommendations concerning the need for revisions to applicable fees and charges and for contributions to the asset management reserve fund. So just that set out in the mandate for the committee, just to bring that to the attention of the committee. And then subsequently, under the mandate, to work with the operating authority to review the operations of the waste disposal and diversion site and the preparation of recommendations concerning such operations and diversion of waste streams. So just bringing those two items to the attention of the committee, that they're within the established mandate for the terms of reference for this group. In terms of the committee requesting a report, I do believe that the committee can make a recommendation to both councils to direct staff to report back on the diversion programs. I would just look for a little bit of clarity from the committee as to what they would like to see in that report.
I believe it was discussed to include all of the diversion programs and the costs of those and the revenue of those. It's just not clear to all members what exactly we have at the landfill regarding diversion programs. And cost analysis of that would be. So there's the mattresses that creates a revenue, and then there's cost for shipping. So those three costs, I would think, would be within the report as we requested for each item of diversion. Yes, member Quebec.
Thank you. Sorry, I'm not sure if I already stated this, but also the staff resourcing required. So for example, if the reuse center is staff heavy, is there a way of capturing maybe just staff hours or whatever that may be? I'm not sure, but I'll leave that detailing to staff.
Yes, that's a good point. And potentially, there are certain staff that are only doing the diversion programs, so that staffing costs could be just allocated to that. Yes.
Through you, Chair, unfortunately, we don't have enough staff that we have staff members dedicated to just diversion. When they're on site, there's somebody at scalers, and then typically somebody down on the receiving end. And they're receiving all of the different things, including waste and diversion thing. So I mean, we can pull a report together, but it's gonna be based on estimates and that's. There's no specific staff or diversion direct.
Right. Yes. Yes.
Well, I don't know something just in the discussion today or in the version, so if we could just formalize that a little bit and bring back a report, because I'd like all of our councils to know what we're doing. I really didn't make an idea, and sitting on as a board with this committee, I should know what's going on with the version, so I appreciate the additional information today. I'd like to see it, actually documented, brought back. I think this committee can have a report to come here, then it will be circulated to both Great Highlands and Chatsworth councils.
And you, the news story there as well. Right, but saving space,
Yeah.
going to be cost. Well,
Yes. Member Quebec, do you have?
That's exactly what I was gonna say. It's a good news story, right? Because there's a lot of positive efforts here. And I think that should be celebrated and it should be known because I think we do a lot. I think we as a municipality and a staff, they do a lot to keep ahead of trends to see, what we can divert. So thank you.
Very good. Yes, and I think our ratepayers as well have a problem with our general municipal budgets keeping increasing. And so I think it is, well, keep them informed as to what we are actually doing. So, and the more information we can give them, I think the better. Now, it was indicated that in our mandate that we need authorization from this board requires authorization to ask staff members to bring back the report. Is that the way it is interpreted? Yes.
For you, Chair Thompson, yeah, the committee does not have the delegated authority to direct staff. So, the committee needs to make a recommendation to council, that council directs staff to, take action on a report or, any other items that the committee would like to see.
Mayor Mackey?
I think that would be very cumbersome if we have to go back to every time that this committee wants a report, we have to go back and run it past both councils. I thought a board of management should have an opportunity to direct staff to bring back reports, but maybe I look to our CEOs for some clarification.
Yes, Chair.
Thank you.
Or questions.
I tend to agree. I think it's an operational report. It's information that we have readily available. I think the board is just asking for information on the operations. I don't see it as directing staff per se. They're not asking staff to do, start doing a specific project or program without council authority. I think the committee is just asking for information, and I think that that's something that we can provide. Because we already have the information, it's just compiling it into one report for the board. So I do see it as just a request for information.
Thank you. So if I could have a mover and a seconder to request from staff to compile a diversion program report.
I do have a motion.
Thank you.
Through you, Chair Thompson, that the Joint Waste and Diversion Site Committee request a report back to the committee on the diversion programs operating at the Holland Markdale Waste and Diversion Site, including costs to the respective councils, fees charged, and staff time approximations.
Very good. Can I have a mover and a seconder? Moved by Mayor McQueen. Seconded by Member Dubeck. All in favor? Carried. What's going on? So we did discuss the adding the shredder to the agenda, which was covered under the correspondence received. Yes, Mayor Mackey.
So I'm trying to go back and forth between a couple of reports. So one, the volume report we received today. That shows the volume increasing down to 2,000 something. I don't have it in front of me right now. But the report on the waste shredder, it was basically 2023 and 2024. So I guess in a nutshell, in preliminary discussions with our council, and it being such a big ticket item, really need to be able to justify the amount of expenditure. And, we've had, Director Moore talked about, bringing up the shredder for demonstration purposes. I guess wanting to know how we're going to be able to qualify or quantify the amount of material changes, and to justify the expenditure. But the amount of material going in right now has been vastly reduced because of decisions made by both councils. So we're down, 2/3 from what we were bringing in. So the life of the landfill has greatly increased for both municipalities because of those decisions. So I think it's great that, we're able to keep our own landfill and utilize somebody else's and do that as long as we can. None of us know how long we're going to be able to do that. But I guess I'm wondering, is the decision around a shredder, is that a better decision to be made when we have more capacity coming into our own landfill? So when we don't have that option to send it down country, I guess I'm not just completely clear right now, because the information that we received in your report, Director Moyer, was in 2003, 2004, when we were looking at the cost savings for the additional space and what that space the money that would give each municipality. And it certainly justified a shredder just based on how much volume space that we were saving, but we're not sending all that material, so that was part of the. I just wanted to have that discussion at this level, because I think I'll have difficulty at our council table unless I have more specifics around, the long-term savings and whether this is the right time to be making such a huge purchase. Thank you.
Don't know that there is a question.
I'm not here as a question, but I'd like to get other people's input on it and Director Moyer can.
Yeah, correct.
So I guess just through you, Chair, your Highlands staff has shown or recognized the waste shredder as something that we feel is necessary to extend the life. We did a budget sheet a number of years ago to include it at a certain period, and it was bumped, and then it was recommended by this committee to bring it back. And so all the information that we have is in that budget sheet, been supplied to both the committee and both councils. And that's like all the information we have right now. The volume goes up and down, but ultimately, whatever volume, and the sooner we can start shredding it and compacting it to save that volume, is going to save volume going further. So it's completely up to both councils and this committee on when they would like to move forward.
Very good, thank you. Is there any other questions on the shredder? Yes, Member Dugat.
Thank you. So regarding this conversation, I think the challenge is, it's an opportunity cost, right? So you're looking into the future of extending the life of the landfill. And, when you're here at present time, trying to make budget decisions, you don't see like a revenue dollar coming back. It's not a savings that you're seeing, at this point in time on your budget. It is an investment for future generations. And so it's that mindset, because I think a lot of our other, I would say, budget and capital investments are a little bit different sometimes. But this is something that is, an investment in our future to be able to use our land space as effectively as possible so that we don't have, so if we extend the life, say, for another 10 years, that means, we're putting off, like, within 30 years, another 10 years of a big cost to have to say, like, create a new land. So it's a tough conversation because you don't see the material revenue impact like today. It's a future investment. And I think that's the challenge of this conversation. I think that's why we've always seen, this item always be bumped off and bumped off. And I'm not sure if it's hard to, I think, to put some more hard numbers around it. I'm not sure, but it is, you're putting off big expenditures, creating a new landfill. And then I'm not sure if there's anything with regards to saying the environmental impact with, gases and all that, because it does, when we're compacting, we also then have less gases, etc., and leaching, I think. So I'm not sure if Director Moore, if you can speak a little bit more to that.
Yeah.
Through you, Chair, yes, that's all in the request that's been put up multiple times over the years. So as you shred the material and then you compact it, you reduce the void space that's in there for air and any other stuff. You also increase the amount that is compacted, so when water can run off better, which then creates less greenhouse gas production because there's no air in there to release it. But yes, all information's in sheets and with the numbers that we had at the time when it was done, and we were going to the volumes, I guess, and the dollar amount that's supposed to be saved if everything works as it's estimated to, I guess.
Thank you, Ms. Khan.
Yes, well, yes, I think there is a lot of political will that's required to be able to invest in the future.
Thank you. Mayor Mackey?
Well, you're certainly right, as long as we knew what the future holds. Just in Director Moyer report, Madam Chair, it said in some applications of municipal solid waste shredding, there has been a 70 to 75% reduction in volume. And this can significantly decrease capacity usage. Don't disagree with that whatsoever. In some applications, so we are shredding right now with the packer, right? It's got shredding capabilities with the, the big teeth that it's got on the front, very hard. So I guess when we're talking about in some applications, is that referencing the difference between what we're doing now as opposed to if we were shredding? Or is it taking into consideration the equipment that we're currently using?
Through you, Chair, so that's taking into consideration the case studies we looked at while we were researching this and shredding to a certain density versus the density we're getting now. So we had our engineer look at it as well, and the comparison that they did is with the sheep's foot packer that we have now, we can get it to a certain density. And with the shredder and our sheep's foot packer, we should be able to attain this density. And then they worked out the difference between the two.
So that's 70, are you confident that 75% increase would happen between what we're doing now and with the purchase of the shredder? Was that taken into consideration, I guess, through the engineer?
So I believe, at last meeting, Mayor Mackey, Director Moyer indicated we would have an additional 60% compaction. So the 75 maybe does optimal. It doesn't indicate our sheep's foot pack or what it is currently getting. Right? And this would be an additional 60%.
During your chair, like, this is all theoretical based on case studies, type of material. So the type of material can make a big difference. Like you shred certain things and you're not gonna get a whole lot, but you shred a couch or something very bulky that's sticking up and it's hard to pack in, then you're gonna get a lot more than maybe 70%. So it's all theoretical at this point, and these are our best estimates from the case studies that staff have looked at, what the engineers have looked at, and then other places that have done it. I guess it was case study, but yes, that's theoretical at this point.
Sometimes it's hard to sell theoretical to other members of the council, but the numbers speak for themselves, but I just want to make sure that, we're not over exaggerating what we're actually going to achieve through this. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Mackey. Is there any other questions? Yes, ma'am.
I'm just following for Mayor Matt saying, I mean, it comes down to choices, right? Budget. I know some municipalities, and there was a bigger thing for years back, and I think, if you're going to go back, they were talking about 90 landfills. And I don't know if that's still an option of mining a landfill, because I thought Springwater doing that a few years back, where they go in and they take the metals, all the stuff from the older side parts of the. We have a hill and a mountain and all that kind of stuff, but there is, that has been put in to just divert some of that stuff that was buried years back out of your landfill space too. And a lot of, and they say half your stuff in your landfill is organics, right? Or a portion of them is organics. Take that out as well. Dirt covering, or it's covered by dirt, right? That makes sense. I think one point of note is certainly the diversion of mattresses. You can imagine if you were putting mattresses in your landfill, you wouldn't get any compaction unless you brought it up, but we're diverting mattresses. So we're doing other things as well. We can keep pressing it down, probably eventually it can squish down. Wait, but we're diverting mattresses, right?
Yes. No one has any follow-up? Is there, any other questions? I think it is important that we, do try to have both councils come to, the demo because, it's a big ticket item and I have no doubt in the world that it would be beneficial. But whether we can afford that cost, and as, Mayor Mackey had indicated that, we have reduced the amount of garbage substantially going into our landfill, so, yes.
Well, this is about reducing our garbage. I'm not saying this community, the TARP system, obviously the TARP system is to save us dirt. Is that working really effectively? That was in this year's budget, right?
Director Moyer?
Through you, Chair, yes, we did move forward with the purchase of the TARP system and staff have been using it all summer. And operationally, they have been very satisfied with the way it's working. And with the TARP, then that means zero cover is required, so that has been saving a substantial amount of space throughout the summertime.
So from that, over a 10-year period, there's gonna be volume savings.
Yes. Mayor Mackey?
Thanks. I just want the committee to know that I support the shredder. It's a top budget year and I'm not sure that I'll get it through every other member, but I'm sold on the value of the shredder for the long term and thinking to the future and not being able to get, other landfills. But it is looking into the future, so thank you.
Very good. Yes, Karen?
Thank you, Chair, through you. I mean, Greater Highlands staff will certainly work with Chatsworth staff to develop those business cases, for the respective councils. I think it is an important, piece of equipment, but, we'll certainly get as much information on the business cases as possible to help out, with the information. Thank you.
I guess a question.
Yes.
To yourself. Is it something that is it being be diverted or? Over a longer period would make it more easier to sell it. Is it so much per year? Is it if it was for a longer period or?
I think as Karen said, the more information I can get from staff justifying this, we can always get things down the road, but I mean, it was pretty clear in this report, the value of getting on board with this quicker than later, so it's just a matter of making sure that we've got all of our T's crossed and our I's dotted.
Yes, Karen.
Thank you, through you. So, yeah, I think it was identified by staff, to be purchased in a specific year, and this committee board brought it forward actually because they realized the benefit of bringing it forward and acquiring it sooner rather than later. So there was quite a bit of discussion about bringing it forward to the 2026 year, I think, purchase. Yeah.
Yeah, staff are trying to provide equipment, that's a bad idea.
I don't know that we have a resolution on the floor to,
We don't.
so, I think it was just a discussion regarding the shredder.
Through you, Chair Thompson, yeah, so there could be a motion that the committee receive the discussion on the joint waste or the purchase of the waste shredder for information.
So that the joint waste diversion site committee adopt the discussion on the shredder for the Holland Markdale landfill site. Proposed shredder.
And that staff will try to provide member councils with additional information on the proposed purchasing. That's a good one.
We do have the other report from last week, yes, Director Moyer.
I just through you, Chair, I would just question the other additional information. We understand that as we move forward with the demo and that we'll be getting, but at this point, the information we have is in that report. And as we gain more, as with anything, we would bring it back, but at this point, I don't think we have additional information to bring back.
Is that fair?
Sure, that's right. I guess I'm optimistic that after the demonstration, there'll be more justification, so maybe that's just wishful thinking.
And there could be. Did we get a resolution there?
That the Joint Waste and Diversion Site Committee received the waste shredder discussion for information.
Good enough. Moved by Mayor Mackey, seconded by. Member Dupac.
All those in favor?
All those in favor? That was carried. Was trying to speed ahead. That the Joint Waste Diversion Site Committee scheduled their 2026 meeting dates to occur quarterly on the first Monday of the month at 10 a.m. as follows. Monday, March 2nd, 2026, Monday, June 1st, 2026, and Tuesday, September 8th, 2026. Do I have a mover and a seconder for that? Moved by Mayor Mackey, seconded by Mayor McQueen.
Second, I have a question.
Yes, discussion.
Yeah, thank you. So we see quarterly, but we have 3 meetings.
Yes, that's
Through the chair.
Oh, thank you.
What was the answer?
Election next year.
Maybe.
We have 3 meetings.
We.
James got 3 more wins. Some idea, right?
Good answer. The next meeting, to be determined.
Chair
Yes.
Thompson will need a vote on that motion that
Oh.
will come.
All those in favor? That was carried. Next meeting, joint waste and diversion site committee meeting to be determined.
So that will be then based on the approved schedule, March 2nd, Monday, March 2nd at 10 o'clock.
Monday, March 2nd at 10 o'clock. Is there all in favor? We don't need a motion. I don't, it's fine. The joint. I think we're finished. Is there anything else? So that the joint waste and diversion site committee adjourn at 11:25 until the next meeting or until the call of the chair.
Thank you.
Adjourn.
We just need a mover and a seconder.
Remember, we don't want to do that. And seconded by Mayor McQueen.
And all in favor.
All in favor.